Hello and happy summer. So today I'm going to share one of my favorite new recipes with you. And it's kind of exciting once you start to practice with a recipe like this, all the different possibilities, which I'll explain more at the end of the video. So what we're going to make today is a grass-fed beef, olive, and mushroom burger. It's pretty straightforward. It's not a drastic variation from a traditional burger, but it's so much better for you, I think. And here's the why. I, like most people, if I could eat a big fat burger with blue cheese and bacon and deep fry it and, add an avocado and have that all the time, honestly, I probably would. I love that kind of food, but it's really not good for us. And over the course of your lifetime, if you eat crap like that, it shows. I can see people my age who have eaten crap and, they don't look too good. I think if you feed your body well, then it'll stay there for you. Life happens, and of course, let's acknowledge that. But generally, I think, if you follow a healthy diet, you feel good, you look good, and you have a lot of energy, I think, and nothing really slows you down. And this burger recipe, it still allows you to indulge in, that beauty that is, a nice hamburger that's nice and fatty and unctuous. But it also allows you to get up and go running the next morning and not have a heart attack. So that's the why. Plus, mushrooms and olives are so great, and why not add them to beef, and why not add them in the burger, right? That's, I think, the best way to have it. And you'll see, too, as I walk you through the recipe, there are other things that we add to that burger to make it really savory and delicious. So on that note, I'll walk you through what we're going to do with the recipes. First, you have your beef, and for that, I'm going to pause the camera and take you in close to look at it. Okay, so here is an example of what the oyster mushrooms that we're going to put in the burger should look like. Nice, firm. You don't want the gills to be separated. You don't want the mushrooms themselves to be damaged. You want them, pretty tight and firm. I wouldn't get the overly large oyster mushrooms. I kind of like them a little more compact because they will release less liquid. And then you basically chop them up pretty fine. I'd say this is like a small to medium dice. And for that, you want to take care and make sure you're chopping it relatively in a uniform way. Now, if you can't find oyster mushrooms, because I know sometimes they're not available in your area, don't fret. The white button mushroom is just a fine substitute, or a cremini mushroom if you have that. If you want to dress it up a bit, one of my favorite variations of this would be to put morel mushrooms in it, or porcinis. But those are super expensive and not that widely available. But hey, if you can get them, go for it. And then you have your Castelvetrano olives. These are chopped up relatively finely. I did 10 here. So 1 cup oyster mushrooms chopped, 10 Castelvetrano olives. These olives are very uniform. 1 Castelvetrano basically is the same size as the next, so 10 should do it. Obviously, you take the pit out and then chop it up. And then you have a pound of ground beef. This is grass-fed and organic. I think that is the best way to have beef if you can afford it. And usually you can find pretty good deals at like a food co-op or a farmer's market. And if it's a few extra dollars more than like conventionally raised beef, I always recommend it, because eating, I think, factory farm beef has horrible and devastating health consequences. A lot of that is fed corn, and corn is really bad for the cows, and it's bad for us. Cows are meant to eat grass. Go grass-fed, go organic. It's worth it if it doesn't kill you. And then you have the other ingredients, which I think add a nice kind of savory contrast to the beef and the oyster mushrooms. You have a tablespoon of smoky paprika, or pimentón de la vera, a wonderful smoked paprika that I love. A lot of people say it makes vegetarian food taste like it has bacon in it. It just adds a nice smoky background flavor, I think, to what you add it to. And then you have a teaspoon of mustard. Tablespoon of mustard. Whoops. A teaspoon of sriracha. And there are other srirachas out there, guys, besides the one that's popular, and on your table at most Thai and Vietnamese restaurants. There are more organic versions available, again, at your local farmer's market or food co-op, that I encourage you to try out. And then you have a teaspoon of lemon zest chopped pretty finely, a quarter of a teaspoon of black pepper, and then half a teaspoon of sea salt. and those are your ingredients. And then obviously we're going to add some oil when we cook up the burgers and so forth. And so I'll basically blend the burger now and show you how we do that. Okay, so I put all of those ingredients in to the bowl, the stainless steel bowl in which I had the grass-fed ground beef. And you can see it's just all there now. Now I'm going to mix it together and kind of blend it in. A lot of people use spatulas and stuff, but I think that kind of, I don't know, I just don't like that. I think I just like to feel my meat and get up close and personal with it. No matter how weird that sounds, I like to feel my food. And so for that, I have gloves on. If you have short fingernails and you wash your hands well, you can just use your hands without gloves. That makes sometimes people a little uncomfortable, so gloves can't go wrong. Just make sure that when you're done blending the beef, you throw the gloves out because you don't want to cross-contaminate. So I'm going to mix that now. Obviously, I'm going to have to pause the camera since I'm working on my limited budget and limited technological skills. I'll be right back. So I mixed all the ingredients together. It takes about probably like a minute and a half of blending the burger together with your hands, I think, to get it so all the ingredients are evenly distributed throughout the meat. And then what I've done here is I've kind of given myself an idea of how big I want each burger to be. I think, a nice big burger is good, but you don't want it so overwhelming that you're like gonna die at the end of it. So I think that basically 4 burgers from this recipe is perfect. If you like them smaller, obviously you'll probably get more burgers out of this mix. If you like them bigger, then obviously you'll probably just get 2 or 3. I'll leave that up to you, but I think 4 is perfect. I've pre-divided it for myself just to make it easier, and now I'll form the burgers, and basically I'll be right back when I'm done with that. So I formed the burgers. Again, 4 burgers I think you should be able to get easily out of this recipe, and they're generous size burgers, as you can see. For this, I basically rolled each burger serving into a ball and then kind of use my hands with gloves on to make it into the burger shape. Now some people use these like burger, I don't know, shaping mold things. I think those just look really weird, to be honest with you. I don't like a super uniform burger that makes it look like it was produced by a machine. Just like I don't want my meatballs to look like that either. I like the human touch. I like the rustic look. And that's our burger here. See, look how thick those are. Even after we cook them, you're still going to get a nice burger to chew into, and hopefully it'll be nice and juicy. I think the mushrooms kind of add to the juiciness, and so does the mustard as well as the Castelventron olives. So what I'm going to do now is fry these up, or sorry, not fry, but cook them up. And as you can see here, I have a pan on the heat. This has been on the heat for long enough that it's a few minutes, so it's about ready to go. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add grapeseed oil to the pan, about a tablespoon, and then throw my burgers in. Now for this, there's this technique that I like to do that I was taught in. Basically, you get your pan hot, you add the oil, immediately you add the burgers, and then shake them around, move them around either by hand or with your spatula till there's a little kind of seal that forms between the meat and the oil. And basically that makes it non-stick. I do not use non-stick pans. I think they're horrible for our health, and now actually there's been revealed that Teflon is pretty toxic for humans, and that was hidden from us, for many years. So good stainless steel, I don't think you can go wrong. If I had a big cast iron pan, I would use that as well. But that oil kind of sealing method works pretty well. So I'll be right back as I put everything in. So my burgers are in the pan. Again, I got the pan really hot. Well, not really hot, but medium hot. And then I added my grapeseed oil, about a tablespoon and a half. And then like 30 seconds later, you want to add your burgers. Obviously, you have to add the burgers one at a time unless you have 10 hands. And then basically as each burger hits the pan, I like to let it create a little seal with the oil, so you kind of shake it around. And then you go through and you do that with each burger. And then once you have each burger down, continue to kind of move it every now and then, just like this. See, it's non-stick, so you don't need those stupid, chemical coated pans. A good stainless steel will take you all the way you need to go. And so this is going to cook 4 to 5 minutes. Usually is pretty good, for your burgers. And so I'm going to let this cook on, again, medium heat for about 4 to 5 minutes. And then I'll flip them, and I'll be back. So after 5 minutes, you can see what I did is I flipped the burgers over. Notice we have a nice crust there. That's basically what you aim for when you have a nice crust like this. Generally, it's been about 4 to 5 minutes, and it's time to turn your burger. And I'm going to cook it for another 4 to 5 minutes on this side. And then I'll show you the next step. So welcome back. It's been about 5 minutes on each side, and that's what the burger looks like. Now I'm gonna add some vegan cheese, which is actually pretty good. I avoided that vegan cheese for so long, and then about 8 months ago I started eating it and realized, hey, it's really good now. It's not like it used to be. It actually tastes like cheese. Sometimes I'm shocked that it's not real cheese. So I'm gonna put that on, and then I have my broiler that's been going on low for about 4 minutes or so. I'm gonna add it in and just melt the cheese. Now, as that's melting, I'm gonna show you my bun. This is a bun that I actually made yesterday. It's my gluten-free, dairy-free burger bun with olives and a little rosemary, dried rosemary. I'm not ready to share this recipe yet. I still need to, continue to refine it, I think, to be honest with you, but it's pretty darn good. And so what I'm gonna do is, after the cheese is melted on my burger, pull my burger out and then throw this bun in the broiler. I want my burger to rest for about 2 minutes or so before I eat it. I think that way the juices really seal in. So let's just check a little quickly, because sometimes this broiler goes really quickly. Not quite yet, another minute or so. So cheese is melted. Now this wonderful bun is gonna go in the broiler. So here we have our toasted burger bun and our vegan cheese melted on our burger. You could always, of course, use real cheese. I just can't do it. Dairy-free, lactose makes me very sick. So this is so good. Now I'm gonna put it together and I'll show you how I do it. I think burger toppings are one of the most personal things that we have as individuals, so feel free to put whatever you want on your burger, but I'll show you what I do. So here we go. I have my bottom of my bun. I put a little of that stone-ground mustard on it. And then I have the burger, the vegan cheese, obviously. Greens from our garden. We have a big aquaponics set up. It's quite exciting. So greens I plucked right before I started shooting the recipe. Some homemade pepperoncini from peppers we grew. And then I like olive oil. I'm a Sicilian, so I love olive oil. So I put some olive oil here. If I had an avocado, I would add that for sure. I love avocados, but honestly, I forgot it at the store. So this is the burger that I'm gonna eat in just a moment. Just look at that big fat burger. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be so good. And it's pretty healthy for you. I wouldn't have this every day, but it can't hurt to have something like this at least once a week. I think it's probably actually pretty good for you to have something like this once a week. So now comes the best part. My favorite part about cooking, the eating. I'm gonna dig into this. It's probably gonna be really messy. Can't believe I'm filming it, but that's the way life is, right? Mmm. My God, so good. Hold on. Nice and messy, like a burger should be. Really juicy. So those oyster mushrooms, when you chop them fine, release a little liquid into the meat as you're cooking it. Kind of infuses it. It steams a little bit. And if you have to be careful with them. You can't rough them up or whatever. But if you handle them carefully, they shouldn't fall apart, and you should still have a really juicy, kind of mouth-watering burger. I think that smoky paprika and the mustard in there, along with those Castelvetrano olives, really accentuate the savor and the kind of wow, pop in your mouth flavor that I kind of look for in the food I eat. So really delicious and pretty healthy for you, as it goes. I think grass-fed beef, if you have it once a week, it seems to not have any negative health impacts, and it seems to actually have some health benefits. I know obviously that depends a lot on your body's makeup and so forth, but I think you're probably pretty good to go with that. And then if you add the ingredients that you add to the burger recipe, or the burger in this recipe, you actually aren't eating that much meat. You're actually eating a good amount of oyster mushrooms, Castelvetrano olives, all that stuff, mustard that is actually good for you, and I believe it has, if not antioxidant properties, health benefits. So delicious recipe. Go for it. Try it out. There are so many different variations that you can play with. Soon I will be featuring on my blog turkey burger recipe that kind of plays with the same idea with the mushrooms and the olives, but you're using turkey meat instead. You can use that for sure if you're not into beef. You could try it with ground pork I don't see why not. Ground chicken would be really good, I think, in this recipe. If you're vegan, I think that, you know, there's that Beyond Beef stuff that's pretty good. Sometimes I eat that and I fool my boyfriend. He'll think he's eating a big burger and he's like, this is so good. I'm like, ha ha ha. I tell him at the end that, you know, it's actually vegan meat. And nobody knows really. So that stuff's great too. You know, I recommend trying it if you haven't. But I like my good, you know, organic grass-fed beef. If I can find it from a local purveyor, I do that. You know, supporting, I think, local farmers is so important because they work so hard and barely, you know, make it most of the time. So that's that. Have fun with this recipe. Enjoy it. I think it's perfect. You know, if you want to grill it, you could do that. In the summer, you know, it's nice to grill stuff. But you can always just cook it on your stove. And this is a recipe, honestly, you could probably find oyster mushrooms and most mushrooms year-round in most American supermarkets. So, you know, it is a recipe. If you want to, you could cook in like December or January. So the base recipe for this is going to be on my blog at www.gabriellemeyers.com. That's GABRIELLE and then MYERS.com. On that website, I have lots of links to numerous recipes. I've been keeping this blog since 2014, so there are a lot of different recipes there that are all gluten and dairy free and seasonal. I encourage you to check out my blog. Also, I have links to the poetry that I write. I wrote a memoir about my experience on an organic farm called Hive Mind, and you can get links to that and check it out on my website. I also write articles on food and farmers and chefs. I'm really into that, you know, as well. So please check it out. Like the video if you do. Hopefully you do. Subscribe to my channel. Check out the blog. Have fun cooking. You know, enjoy summer and happy cooking. I think cooking is one of the most sacred things that we do as human beings. It's like, you know, when you're gardening, you're farming, and you're pulling something from the soil. There's nothing, I think, more spiritually fulfilling than taking that and transforming it into something that nourishes you and that nourishes the people that you love and care about, and then feeding it to them. So enjoy that process. You know, it's one of the sacred rituals that we have as human beings that we love to engage in, hopefully 3 times a day, maybe more.